And welcome to another episode of Hockey Talk on HN Live. I am your host, Dave Dawson. We return back to the Heritage Junior Hockey League in Alberta this week. 5 Junior B leagues in the province of Alberta, the Heritage Junior Hockey League being one of them, 13 teams in that league, and one of them back this season after a hiatus. That is the Three Hills Thrashers. So glad to be joined this week by General Manager Ryan Dettmer, as well as head coach Ried, Fenton. And guys, why don't we just pick up right from there? There's obviously a lot of things to talk about in this new current world of sports and hockey, but let's start just with the process of getting the team back into the Heritage Junior Hockey League. Now, 2018-19, not the greatest year for that program, 235-1, and both your faces are brand new to that organization. So, Ryan, General Manager, we'll start with you. What's this process been like getting the team back and icing the program for the 2021 season?
It's been a long process. Ried and I sort of kicked everything off with conversation back mid-January to late January. I was sort of always the guy that said that this leave of absence was sort of the kiss of death and it would be impossible to bounce back from. But we were sort of filling the same roles last year with our local midget team as we're filling with the Thrashers this year. And we kind of saw that we had a special group there. And I think that was sort of the first step was, okay, we've got a local group here that we can build from. And we've spent every day since mid-January thinking about this return and turning it into what it was before the break.
And past president of Knee Hill Minor Hockey, if I am correct, and you can see the fingerprints on the Thrashers roster from guys from Knee Hill. So, what's that like constructing that roster and starting to put those pieces together, and as well, obviously, as finding the right head coach, which you have found?
Well, Ried was a logical choice as head coach for sure. He has been there, done that, and you take that step back as your kids go through minor hockey is sort of a logical and normal approach to it. And Ried has done that and was ready to move back behind the bench in Junior B, and glad to have him there. And of course, he's familiar with a lot of the players as Knee Hill players, and it's great to have him there.
And Ried, yourself, a bit of, I wouldn't call it unorthodox because the hockey world brings along all kinds of backgrounds, but you spent some time on the ice the last 12 years getting a good look at the Junior B level in the Heritage Junior Hockey League and overall at hockey, and now back behind the bench. So you were with the Thrashers from 2002 to 2008, silver medals in the provincials, if I stand corrected as well, and now back behind the bench. So what's that journey been like to get yourself back into the spot as the head coach for the 2021 season?
It's been exciting. I think when Ryan first approached me in January, I was a little bit hesitant, not for very long. I've worked with Ryan in the past, and it's been exciting, right, to get going, trying to take something that was perhaps broken and building it right back up to where we want to be, getting players that know how to win, that want to win, and hockey's important to them. And I think we've done that. We're just starting to find our groove, and of course we got shut down. So it's been awesome.
Now, Ried, I want to touch a bit on that because obviously your involvement as a referee, you get a firsthand look at the character of players on the ice, right? And I think you touched on character, and that's an important part of building a team and an organization. So how much did that kind of give you a bit of an inside look to, you can talk to a player, you can watch them on different teams, but you kind of get that, okay, how a guy conducts himself on the ice. Did that give you any kind of inside look into scouting and recruiting players?
I don't know that would have. The biggest thing that did in my mind was, as Ryan and I were going through the list of potential Thrashers for this year, the biggest thing that I knew in my head was that we could, with these guys and maybe the players coming in, players coming out, but I knew that we could compete in Junior B. I don't know if we can hang a banner up right away. That's maybe not the goal. Maybe that's 2 or 3 years down the road. but I knew that we could compete from being on the ice as an official in that league for the last 12 years.
Now, obviously, we're heading into another pretty intense lockdown here coming on Monday, and we've been on pause in the league for over a month already after a pretty good start. And competitive-wise, I would say, how would you evaluate before we get into the lockdown stuff? So 4 games in, an overtime win and 3 losses. How would you evaluate just the competitive side and what you've been able to see? This question for Ryan so far on the ice. How would you evaluate that?
I think we're very happy with what we've seen so far. I don't think we need to judge our success on how many wins we put in the win column. We have the 1 overtime win, and we're on a winning streak whenever we get back to hockey. But I think we've been successful in being competitive. We've shown maybe our inexperience, and I would suggest maybe we've beat ourselves even once, and could have been 500, but that's not all that it's about either.
Definitely, I'd have to agree in being able to watch a couple of those games, and there are so many aspects of your team's game that I thought in the first couple of periods of that second broadcast that we had, defensively, your team really seemed to bear down, and I imagine that you've had time to watch some of the tape there, Ried. And what has impressed you the most so far from your program in the last 4 games?
I think the biggest thing, and by the way, I did watch that whole game, both the games that we had in hockey. The biggest thing for me is that the players, their willingness to learn, they want more. They don't want to just scrimmage or have a half practice. But I say that they are really, really eager to learn. They want more, and they want to compete. They want to win right now, and I don't know that we're necessarily going to do that. But I love the character inside our dressing room right now.
Just a follow-up question to that, how advantageous has that been for you to be able to just watch a couple of those games? Because, yeah, I imagine both as coach and GM for both you guys, with the question starting with Ried, being able to almost go right away and just kind of coach a player and say, hey, you know what, maybe you make an adjustment here and then you move forward.
I talked to 4 players after the first weekend and used some of the video. So I say I really liked it. And the biggest thing that we did was we simplified our game after watching that first weekend set and watching the game up in Rocky. We decided to just dumb it down and make it a really, really simple game the next weekend, and we started to have success.
Now, question for you there, a similar question, Ryan. How's that allowed you to maybe evaluate some of the personnel on the ice and just to kind of maybe comb over a few tendencies maybe that you wouldn't have been able to see before if you didn't have video?
I think it has tons of advantages. Anytime you can refer back and put something on repeat and look at a certain player over again or a certain player over again, or, just to review it for your own personal entertainment, it is nothing but a bonus to have it there. And I really can't say enough about just having it as a tool.
All right, well, one clip I'm sure has been reviewed over and over is that end-to-end goal by Porter Pennock, and I kind of was a little bit awestruck watching that develop on the ice. If Corey's able to get that queued up and run, I think, Ried, if you want to just kind of analyze it as it's happening, and did you kind of see this as the play developed in the back end as Porter grabbed that puck?
I'd say not at all, because if I remember right, we were hemmed in our own end for about 30, 40 seconds. And quite honestly, I think I would have been happy with icing right there. Not ideal for a D-man to take the goal line and go all the way down. But when he ends up with that result, how do you argue with that? And that's his first goal in the Heritage League. So it's pretty special.
Ryan, did you kind of know what you had in Porter Pennock when you brought him on the team this year?
Well, Porter sort of fell into our laps. He was late addition after, being at another level of hockey. And When he came back to us from Red Deer, it was a real good stroke of luck. And adding a guy with that kind of talent and that kind of pedigree is, very beneficial to our club. Obviously, getting a guy at 16 years old that may have higher aspirations, I'm hoping it's not just a one-off. I'm hoping that he enjoys his hockey experience with the Thrashers and sticks with us.
Yeah, 22 points in U16 AAA last year, if I stand correct, through 36 games in Red Deer. As you're compiling that roster, we talked about that already, and you're looking down at guys that I thought played excellent, where you look at your wing and backs, Tegan McCullough I thought was great. Is there, in the first few games you've seen, I know you don't like to really pinpoint certain players, and maybe other guys feel left out of the current world of the way sports works, but question, we'll start with you, I guess, Ried. Have there really been a few guys in the first 4 games of the season that have really jumped off the page for you?
I think on the back end, I picked our young defense. I obviously Fenton. There'd be the whole crew of them back there. I think we've asked them to modify their game, and they really stepped up front. I think I pick wing for sure. But really, we're going to have to score by committee, and I think at different times, different players have stepped up. And Tyrus Taves scoring that overtime goal in Three Hills is a good example of that. He sat in the penalty box for 12 minutes, and he just about wasn't going to see ice for the rest of the game, and then he goes out and scores the game winner, right? So to me, it's really been by committee, and we're still trying to find our way with that.
Ryan, I got a question for you. I found a quote on the main page of your website, and it's chop wood, carry water. Is that from the line of that book, Chop Wood, Carry Water, How to Fall in Love with the Process to Becoming Great by Joshua Medcalf? Because I've heard that title before, and I'm just wondering if that's maybe kind of an aspect of how you incorporate the inspiration into your program.
I have no idea where that quote comes from. As far as I know, it comes from the mind of Ried Fenton. He passed that on, and it's sort of the many hands make light work type of quote, and I'm not sure where it came from.
Ried?
Well, I believe it or not, I got that quote out of the Edmonton Oilers dressing room, and quite frankly, it just means chop wood, carry water. All of us are stronger than none. None of us are as strong as all of us, and that simply means that everybody's got to be on the rope, pulling the same way. And a team is about the team, and it does not matter how you do individually. What matters is how the team does. So everybody get on board. Everybody does the same amount of work. It's going to be different work, but everybody pitches in and will be successful.
It's definitely a good mantra to have. Trevor Harris, quarterback of the Edmonton Football Club, and I have become pretty good friends, and he referenced that book, so I thought, that's got to be right in there, but that makes just as much sense. Guys, obviously this world lockdown is nothing that anybody has experienced before, so often in life situations, someone's got a bit of a background on this, and they can help shed some light into that. It's new for everybody. Ryan, we'll start with you. What has this situation been like? And obviously probably as difficult as anyone after being back in the league. Your first year, you play 4 pretty good games, and now you haven't played for a month and a half. What's that process been like?
It's been extremely difficult. I would say that we had a choice to continue a leave of absence and come back a year later, knowing what might be ahead of us for this year. But given that we had so many 2002s and younger guys that were ready to make the step to junior hockey, we felt we needed to do it this year. We crossed our fingers, hoped that maybe the outcome would be better than it has been so far as our ability to start playing and to carry on with a normal hockey season without adding a whole bunch of expletives and curse words. It's been sad. It's been disappointing. It's been painful, and we want hockey back.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think of sponsorship as one of the first things I think of. And obviously, when you're bringing a program back into a community, you want belief from the community and you're looking for sponsorship. What's the conversations been like, and how difficult has that been, I guess, without the use of expletives, as you had mentioned?
It's been difficult. I think that what we did with sponsorship was we didn't flip everybody over and shake every cent out of their pockets. We asked for commitment at the level that they were comfortable with. And I think we have a lot of goodwill from our corporate partners. And I hope that we can just roll this year's sponsorships forward, as they maybe haven't got their money's worth out of this year. And I think there's also still hope that we can get back in our arena and we can give them the mentions over the PA system at games, and we can do what they signed up for. So it's a bit of an unknown, but we're just happy that we have that support, and hope it continues.
Yeah, Ried, question for you. Dialoguing with the parents, I guess, of some of the players and the players specifically, what have some of those conversations been like when it comes to just the mental health and stability and keeping people in shape as well, and just maybe conversations with the parents? And I mean, obviously now that we're locked down, what has that process been like for you?
I describe it as excruciating almost. I think everybody realizes the situation we're in and all that, but it's painful, right? I mean, you develop that camaraderie, and unless you've been in a dressing room, I don't think you totally understand it. But everybody's starting to pull on the rope. We're starting to experience some success, and then like a light switch, right? It just gets shut off. And so, talking to the players, and I haven't talked to every one of them. We've had group texts and stuff like that, but it's painful. And the biggest thing is that it's outside of our control, right? So we kind of got to grin and bear it, and keep a positive attitude and keep forging ahead. And I think a lot of the players, they're either going to school or they have jobs. So, I'm confident that within a week, 2 or 3 practices, I think we'd be ready for another game if we get that opportunity.
Yeah, and question, I guess, for either of you guys, and we'll start with you again, Ried. That is as much of that just keeping a regular dialogue with those players. I mean, when it comes to recruiting, junior be a bit of a different animal as opposed to other levels, where sometimes players might get tugged on a little bit from other sides. But is it just as much as keeping a regular dialogue going? Hey, okay, what's your nutrition level like, and are you're working, because junior B is really a working man's league, right? That's kind of what that reputation is now, where there are a lot of great players. Is that just as much that part of the conversation, Ried?
I think a lot of it, I would say, to answer your question, Dave, I'd say yes. And it's really a year-long job. And I think the players are your best ambassadors for getting other players. And of course, coming into it this year, starting right from scratch, I think our biggest ace in the hole was Ryan. Ryan put a lot of work into that, a lot of research into every player. And so, yeah, going ahead, I would love to get back on the ice and give these guys an opportunity to prove themselves and prove ourselves as a franchise too.
All right, so Ryan, when we kind of end with on that note with a positive spin on it, an opportunity for a message for the town of Three Hills and sponsorship, with fingers crossed that we're going to get going playing hockey again in January, right? That's what we're really hoping for. What is your message to the town of Three Hills and the sponsorship base?
Well, the Three Hills Thrashers are on a 1-game winning streak. It's not every day that this franchise can say that, but we are not the team that took a 29-1 loss a couple seasons ago. We're not anything but this year's Thrashers. We're young, we're energetic. What we lack in experience, we make up for in talent and in vim and vigor. And some of these guys that are 2004s, 2003s, 2002s, these guys have a long time that they can play this game in this league. And we think that we're building towards an apex and that the sky is the limit. I think that we can feel that the community believes in us, and we just want to be able to get back out there and continue what we had going to start this season, because I think we've got a lot of good to show everyone.
All right, well said. Well, it is getting close to Christmas, a couple of weeks till then. Ryan, why don't we go a little bit of a fun route? So if a player or coach, if they called you and said, I have some Christmas baking for you, I'm bringing it over to your house, who would that person that you would not want it to be and put it anywhere near your mouth?
Oh, geez. I think that list is extremely long. There's one of our forwards lives just around the corner for me, so it would be convenient for him to bring over a package, but I do not think that I would want to open the brown bag on the front step from Oren Armstrong. I don't think, I don't really know anything about his baking skills, but he is a big-time joker, and I don't know if I would really trust what came my way from him.
All right. I think Ried probably had an idea for that question as well. So, Ried, you can either add on to that one or you can answer this one. If you were to have a team Christmas movie, if everyone was allowed to get together and watch a movie again, who'd be the one player or coach that you'd have to constantly throw things at to shut up because they talk right through the whole thing?
For a coach, it would be Barry Kletke, without question. And as far as the player goes, I'd guess Tyrus Taves. Mr. Taves would be the one that would be a hard one to contain his enthusiasm, whether it's on the ice or watching a movie. Or those would be my two, hands down.
All right, so then, Ried, are you planning on getting Ryan a hockey jersey for Christmas? It looks like you probably could use a couple more for his collection there.
You know what I'd offer to get Ryan is a quality hockey jersey, something with Calgary Flames logo on the front, perhaps.
I'll give you a rebuttal, Ryan.
I just crawled into the basement here that my kids run, and Turner, who is a forward on our team, is a big-time Blackhawks fan. I guess Ried and I haven't been around each other enough lately. I'm a Flames fan just like he is, and I could definitely put a Lindholm jersey, or especially a Calgary number 19 jersey, on this wall here, and that would be the ideal backdrop.
All right, well, the ideal broadcast with three bald guys. Couldn't have planned that any better than we did, could we? That was absolutely fantastic. Guys, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate your time, and I definitely really hope we get going for the hockey season again soon. I know I can't wait, and it's been a fun journey with hnlive.ca and the Heritage Junior Hockey League this year. So thanks so much for watching this episode of Hockey Talk. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on hnlive.ca as well. Looking forward to having more Hockey Talk episodes coming up in all levels of hockey right across the country. Definitely looking forward to that. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.